What's up, everybody? I've got some super strong buffs and changes from Mienshao, but quickly, before I can get into explaining these and going through how awesome they are, I want to have a quick disclaimer for anybody who's new here to check out the description below. There's the very same Google Sheet that I use in all my videos. You can check it out for yourself. I implore you to do that, not only so you can look at all of the really vast Pokemon buffs and changes. This is not your average run-of-the-mill ROM hack. Every Pokemon is given in-depth buffs and changes to make them all viable and fun to use. And not to mention 600 plus moves have been buffed or changed, and you can check out a very detailed move guide that has been organized into categories for your viewing pleasure. You can check out what all those moves do now. That's super important. I'll go into a lot of them in this video in Mienshao's case because a lot of them are now affected by Technician, which is one of its new great abilities. But before I get into that, I want to explain the type change. Fighting Normal. Normal is relatively arbitrary typing. I want it to stand out from pure fighting types. First off, like Hitmontop, for example, and Hitmonlee are pure fighting types with Reckless and Technician, and there's all this other stuff, and Hitmonchan has Proficiency, so in general, there's no way that Mienshao wouldn't overlap with the other pure fighting types. So Fighting Normal fits also their design, in my opinion, their color scheme. They are mammals. I think all of the pure fighting types should be like literal martial artists, so things like Throw, Sock, Machamp type stuff, while a lot of other Pokemon that used to be fighting type are now fighting normal. Mega Lopunny has Reckless, which is why Mienshao lost Reckless. I acknowledge Reckless would be pretty cool with stuff like Double Edge, High Jump Kick, and other stuff, but it prefers to have these two abilities anyways. And again, Mega Lopunny is a normal fighting type with Reckless, so that fits Lopunny a little bit more. Mienshao has incredible moves to abuse with Technician, however, fighting normal also was a lot better on a frailer offensive fast Pokemon because you gain that incredible dual stab, which allows you to hit a lot of things neutrally. Fighting Normal is very good neutral coverage, especially when you consider the fact that it has access to Technician boosted Dark and Ghost moves, and also its other ability is great in Proficiency, which is essentially Beast Boost. So Mienshao can get a speed, attack, or a special attack boost depending on your EV spread, and you might be looking at the stat spread and thinking, why the hell would I ever use a special set? You have so many better physical moves. You were right that it has a lot of better physical moves, but especially it still has a lot of really good tools, and you can't control the IVs and the nature that you get in game. So maybe you'll get a modest nature with or 0 attack IVs and 31 special attack, or you just happen to think that a special set would be better for that fight because not only do you have access to infinite usability capsules to switch between your abilities, you can also use them to use EV training items, to change your EV spreads around, so you can run special attack or attack depending on the occasion. Especially with Technician, you have all kinds of incredible moves like Swift, Force Waves, and Vacuum Wave. Those are huge. Swift and Vacuum Wave are both 55 base power plus 2 priority moves, so those become 83 base power with Technician. Those are very strong. And then you have Force Waves, which is 40 base power per hit and hits twice, and it has roughly a 50-ish% chance to paralyze when you consider that it hits twice. It's about, I believe, 30 per hit, so it's roughly ends up being 50, a little over 50% because of the math. But Force Waves is very powerful. That's 120 base power with Technician, and it's very early on. So by the time you evolve at level 32, I mean, your attack and special attack are only 30 points apart. So 95 versus 125. You can definitely take advantage of your special attack stat. You also have Calm Mind to boost your special attack stat, and you have good coverage like Psychic and Shadow Ball on the special side, as well as powerful stab moves in general like Hyper Voice, Hyper Beam, Focus Blast, all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely use proficiency sets with special as well, depending on your IVs and your nature and your personal preference. But the main star of the show here is, of course, those physical sets with, man, it has an absolute beast of a move pool for Technician. So it has dual stab on Tail Slap and Pummel, which are multi-hit moves, very strong with Technician. Those are later on. And then you have Fury Swipes for dark coverage, which is very good and also very fitting, of course. Rolling Kick is a 60 base power move that gives you +1 speed. That's great with Technician. That becomes 90. Double Kick is 35 base power per hit, so that's roughly, I believe, 105 base power overall, with both hits considered. Finishing Blow is really good with Technician as well. Of course, you also have Priority. Finishing Blow gives you +3 attack, by the way, if you kill something. It's from Fell Stinger, so that's really good with Technician. That becomes roughly 80 base power. You have Quick Attack and Mach Punch and Fake Out. Fake Out is huge. In-game Fake Out's not the best, but 50 base power fake out when it comes to a stab technician Pokemon, that's actually worth the move slot, because that's a lot of free damage that can break a lot of focus sashes, and in general, that's just a lot of good damage that you can get off for free. That is 75 base power for literally for free, and that's not even counting stab yet. And then you have Knock Punch, Quick Attack, and Burst Impression, all of which are also technician boosted. Burst Impression being 60 base power, always crits. You can check out all these super in-depth move buffs and changes in the description below, because I don't have time to get into every single one, but what I will say is Double Slap and Karate Chop are both overall 90 base power with technician, so those are also really great, especially for the early game. Obviously later on you probably want to delete those for stronger moves. Flail and Reversal are very nice with proficiency sets with Endure. Endure is a TM that you can tack on whenever you want, so once you learn Flail and Reversal, you can slap on Endure and run proficiency with a Salac or Lychee Berry for attack or speed, and then you can get a sweep going. Keep in mind that that setup is a lot less easy to get off in this hack. Priority stat debuffing moves like Topsy Turvy and Heart Swap and all these other moves exist to counteract sweeping. Not to mention, a lot of opponents will have Taunt, and also Mienshao no longer resists Bug, so the very, very common First Impression will absolutely demolish Mienshao coming from a strong Pokemon, because it is now neutral on Mienshao. And as I was saying earlier, that Ghost immunity is a big deal. While you are weak to fighting, you only have 70, 60, 60 bulk. You're gonna die to a fighting hit anyways, or at least a stab fighting attack from anything with, I mean, pretty much just any stab fighting attack that's decently strong will kill you, regardless, unless you're running defensive investment or something. They did lose Regenerator, by the way. Regenerator is not that great on Pokemon this frail, and I didn't feel like boosting up its defense at all. So, it would much rather have the sweeping potential with proficiency. Although, honestly, most of the time, Technician is going to be your go-to just because of its incredible moves that it can abuse with that. But you also have tons of other great coverage moves that aren't Technician boosted, and tons of really good stab moves like Close Combat and Strength, which is now normal type Close Combat, and stuff like Giga Impact and all this other really strong stuff that you can use. One of actually literally the most strong Technician boosted move that you have, however, is Triple Kick, which is an absolute monster of a move. Triple Kick is essentially triple axle. So with Technician, I actually am blanking on the exact power, but I know that okay, I remember it now. The second hit with Technician from Triple Kick is 120 base power, and the third hit is, I believe, like 203 or something, over 200. It's insane. Also, I'm not saying the second hit is individually 120. I mean, hitting twice is 120, hitting 3 times is 200 something. And that can be difficult because it is inaccurate. It's 90 base power per hit, 90 base accuracy, per hit. So it's a separate 10% chance to miss for each hit. So you're going to have to run Wide Lens for that to be consistent, especially in a Nuzlocke, which is what this hack is balanced around, hardcore Nuzlocks. You're absolutely playing with death, because not only can you only get one hit, you can also miss and just flat out die most of the time. So you're definitely going to want to run that with Wide Lens, which will weaken your damage output. But honestly, you don't need that much damage output. You don't need a boosting item with Triple Kick. It also bypasses Focus Sash and Sturdy and Energy Shield and all this other stuff. So it's an incredible move, which is why it's the last move at level 65. It's very strong. Yeah. Fake Out, Staple, Quick Attack, all these great moves, right? You have so many great, powerful Technician moves. You also have great coverage. Covet and Knockoff are both always 90 base power of Technician, and those are Fairy and Dark moves. And you have other good stuff like Power Up Punch is great, actually. That's 75 base power, gives you +1 attack. Rock Tomb is good coverage with Technician, so yeah. I'll leave the video off there. I think I covered everything relatively in depth. Hopefully you enjoyed this style of buffs and changes. Like I said, the fighting normal typing, it's a mammal. It's like this, it's a martial artist, but it's also a mammal, and I just feel like the normal typing fits. And also, it was mostly for overlap reasons, because I don't want Pokemon to outclass one another or anything like that. And Mienshao would share too many abilities with the Hitmons. Actually, each one it would share. It would share Technician, Proficiency, and Reckless. With each one of the 3 has one of those 3 abilities, so there would be no way that Mienshao could stand out from those guys, or Mienshao would be better than them depending on the stats and stuff. So in general, I like them all having different tools. Mienshao's no exception. Great Pokemon, great typing, awesome move pool, awesome abilities. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Hopefully you found this entertaining and interesting. If you did, make sure you press that subscribe button. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Check out the Google Docs, or rather Google Sheets, in the description below, and let me know what you think. Peace.